Hello, welcome to danbarpens.com. I'm Robert and I wanted to cover something real quick for you today. I play a lot of craft shows and I lay my pens out on the table, and then you lay them out, people come by, they look at them, they move them around, the wind blows, the table's kind of slanted, they get all messed up, you don't have a straight line anymore. I thought of a quick and easy way to make a pen rack in like 10 minutes. Granted, you can buy the acrylic pen racks and stand all your pens up nice and neat and all that kind of stuff, but if you want to do this for the least amount of money and the fastest possible way that I can think of so far, I'm going to show you how to make a pen rack in about 10 minutes. First thing you're going to need is a piece of wood. I've already cut these to shape. It's roughly, and this is mostly approximate, 1/2 inch thick, 13 inches long, and 2 inches wide. Got your piece of wood. These are going to be two different pen racks. I'm going to make them together, so we're going to make two pen racks here. First thing you're going to need, you need a pencil, you need a 1/2 inch drill and a 1/4 inch drill, and then you need roughly about 3.5 inches of a 1/4 inch dowel. These are all already cut to shape. You can get long pieces of dowel, just cut it at 3 inches. This was just a regular board. I cut it at 2 inches and then planed it down to a 1/2 inch thick. So you've got your wood. You're going to measure up. You're going to need a ruler. You're going to measure up about 3/4 of an inch, and then about 1.25 inches on the other end. Make your mark, and 1.25 inches and 1/4 inch, or 3/4 of an inch, is 2 inches. And you need a straight edge. You go from your 3/4 inch mark to your 1.25 inch mark. Draw a line. And then along this line, and it's 13 inches in length. So you've got a 13 inch board. You're going to put marks at 1 inch all the way up, and it gives you a dozen slots for your pens. I made one at 12 inches thinking I'd get a dozen, and I only got 11 slots. So you make it 13 inches long, make your marks at 1 inch each, and then we're going to use the 1/2 inch drill on each one of those marks. So let's go over to the drill press. Okay, we've put our marks down 1 inch apart from the bottom of the line to the top of the line. I've got two pieces here, so we're going to drill through both of them, and then we're going to be able to make two racks out of this with just one fell swoop. We'll make two racks. Drill on, be sure you've got your sacrificial wood under here to help prevent blowout. And then we just do it on every mark, every inch, the rest of the way up the board. Now obviously you can do this with a hand drill or a drill press. If you use a drill press like mine, you're going to run into your support bar here. So you're going to have to pull it out, flip it over, and then start from the other side. Make sure you got your sacrificial wood in there. Make sure it's all squared and level. Pick your hole. Looks pretty centered. have two choices. We can either hit it here, and it's going to be just a fraction of an inch off, because we're up against this, or we can take it out, and then do it a little more old school, as far as just set it up on them like this. You can still hit your holes. I'm going to opt this way just because I want these to line up. Plus, don't forget, we're making two of them. That looks better. And I got another idea, being we're going to do this now without a clamp. I'm going to put some clamps on these to keep them sturdy. And there's your 12 holes. So now we're going to go over to the bandsaw and we're going to cut along our line that mostly intersects these holes even all the way up. So let's head over to the bandsaw. Alright, we've got our holes drilled down the center of that line. We got our two pieces. Now we're just going to free cut right down that line on both of these together. Generally you just do one. I'm doing two just because I need a couple of them. Probably a little safer to do just one. Stick as close to that straight line as you can, because it cuts the holes in half. And it's those holes that are going to be the little arcs to set your pen in. Obviously you want them centered as good as possible so your pen's lay straight. Keep a constant, even pressure on your wood to make sure they're still centered. You could throw a clamp on here too, but then it's too hard to cut the whole thing all at once with the clamp in the way. Alrighty, we've cut our board down our diagonal line, drilled the holes along it, cut it on the bandsaw, and now there's your rack. Now what we're going to do is drill 1/4 inch holes on each end of it, and these dowels are going to pop into them. And because the dowels are 1/4 inch and the holes are 1/4 inch, it's a really snug fit, so it holds itself together. So let's head over to the drill press. Alrighty, we're all set up on our drill press. Got our little laser mark, pretty much square. You can just eyeball this part, make sure your pieces are flush. We're going to cut through this. Alrighty, then we're going to flip it over. Center it. Again, you can just eyeball this part of it as long as your left and right side are flush. That looks pretty centered. And through we go. And there's your left and right sides. Now we'll go put dowels in them. Alrighty, we finished up drilling our holes, our 1/4 inch holes in the front and the back. Now you take your 1/4 inch dowels, and because the holes are a 1/4 inch and the dowels are a 1/4 inch, they fit really snug, so they won't fall apart on you. Just push them in until they're flush with the ends. Push the dowel in, and boom, there's your 10-minute pen rack. Now I did want to draw your attention to one thing. I noticed when I was cutting these, that's one board, this is one board. If you do just one, and you mark it 3/4 of an inch from one end and 1 1/4 from the other, that makes 2 inches. You mark it on one end at 3/4 and the other end at 1 1/4. If you don't cut that line perfect every time, they're going to come out, they're going to turn out, they can turn out, if you're not bubble on plumb, they could turn out uneven. So then you just run it on a disc sander if you just want to do one of them. Now if you want to avoid that kind of extra step, then you make 2 of them at once. Keep them flush, keep them together, draw your lines, draw your lines. This is a board, but if you take this half from one board and this half from the other board, now they're perfectly even because it's the same side of the board that you cut them on. So just an FYI, it's almost faster to make 2 of them at the same time because then you don't have to smooth them out and make the pen holes even. And then you move to your next step, which we just finished. You drill your 1/4 inch holes, front and back. You take your 1/4 inch dowel, you slide them in the holes. And you've got your pen rack. I haven't drilled the holes in this one yet. Now if you want to go a couple steps farther, which I have, and I'm going to on this one later. For instance, this one I stained cherry, and because you can take them apart, I had some 8mm just junk pen blanks that I turned down, and because we have the 1 1/4 dowel, that fits almost perfect inside an 8mm pen blank tube, the brass tube, the 8mm brass tube slides right down over it. So you can slide little pen blanks over them or whatever, put it together like normal, and because again they fit snug, they hold themselves together, but because you can take it apart, you can change out your pen blanks, you could put different things inside, you can stain them different colors. I'm going to take some of the spray-on flock, that spray-on velvet stuff, and I'm going to put a little bit of the glue inside each one of the grooves and then spray the flocking to it. So the pen will sit on little felt runners. And then I'm also going to put it on the bottom. I'm going to glue the bottom and then flock the bottom, put the little spray-on felt on the bottom of them so they sit soft on your desk or whatever, your vendor's table or whatever, and then there's flocking inside. You could go another step and engrave them and wood burn them, or you could brand your pen tubes, whatever, to make a little extra special, you know, appearance, aesthetics a little better. This is one of the first ones I did. This one's kind of a monster. It was the very first one I did, and like I said, I had cut this, and then they weren't even, so I had to put them up on a disc sander, and I smoothed it out until it was even, and it came out okay. Then I took just regular little pieces of wood. I drilled the holes in and countersunk them. And then you put the wood on it. I don't have the screws right here in front of me, but then this screws together. Put the screws in and it screws together. I stained this one antique cherry, I think. These are all made out of pine. So I mean, you can do this with a simple little, 13-inch 2x4 board if you want. Rip the 2x4 in half, plane it down. There you've got your two pieces. Draw your line. Drill your holes. Cut it on your bandsaw. Drill your holes for your screws or for your dowels, and boom, it's still 10 minutes. And then I'll flock the inside of these, and I'll flock the bottom and stuff. But there you go, there's your pen racks. 10-minute pen rack to make 2 of them. I personally think from here on out I'll probably make 2 at a time, just so I don't have to worry about the sides being level. If you do 2, this half is going to be even, and then this half is going to be even, just from the way you cut your line. So that worked out pretty good. I made a few of these and I learned something new every time. So 10-minute pen rack. Only tools necessary obviously is the 2-inch drill, a 1/4-inch drill, the bandsaw. We're pretty squared away, but you don't need glue, you don't need screws, you don't need a screwdriver. They just assemble and disassemble by hand. So then you can pack them up, put them in your tote, go to your next show or wherever you need to display your collections of pens. And there you have it. Thanks for stopping in, danbarpens.com. Got all sorts of great gift ideas, handmade custom acrylic pens, woodcraft, personalized engraving that I can put names on it, pictures on it. Stop in, see us, danbarpens.com. Hope to see you soon. See ya.